Trapmore gang, Donald Trump's plans to conquer Greenland for America might be coming together. And one of the reasons that Europe is so damn afraid of Donald stepping on them for Greenland is because, as we saw recently with the kidnapping slash capture slash arrest of Venezuelan President Maduro, it sounds like the United States has some secret weapons, some alien, not alien, but like some next level technology. I spoke about it in a previous video. They got something they can strap onto a helicopter and shoot microwaves into soldiers' brains and literally cook their brains. I'm not joking. This is a real thing. So it sounds like everybody is just shaking in their boots about Trump's secret weapons, and Greenland might well be Trump's very soon. So look, this is him talking about these weapons, all right? He's talking about the United States has weapons nobody knows about. Until now, you just told everyone, Chief.
That nobody knows about. We have weapons that nobody knows about.
There was a weapon used, a sonic weapon, that took out many of the Cuban bodyguards that were used to defend Maduro. Lots of people saw the details about that weapon and were concerned. Is that something that Americans should be afraid of, something the United States is combating?
Yeah, it's something I don't want to, nobody else has it. We have weapons that nobody knows about. And I say it's probably good not to talk about it, but we have some amazing weapons. That was an amazing attack. Don't forget, that house was in the middle of a fort, an army base, a big one, a lot of soldiers, and they came in and they did their job. We lost nobody.
Trump said we got them big guns with the banana clips and the dicks, all right? So he even appeared to provide a little bit too many details about these secret weapons during his recent appearance at the World Economic Forum. This is what he said.
Weapons of warfare, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got him in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet and crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China. So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, I guess.
So he's saying that them Russian and them Chinese weapons ain't doing shit, all right? People saying, wow, hey, folks, I just want to confirm our possession and recent use of new top secret weapon systems. What a tool. Wouldn't be surprised if they simply hack their way into the military and shut off all systems, and Trump doesn't even know what hacking is, and it's some new super weapon. People saying, why do people vote for this decrepit? Oh, come on, man. Look, all right, I'm going to remain neutral, all right? I want to be able to come and go to the United States freely, all right? People are saying he's undermining our capabilities, but for me, weapons of warfare, I can't even talk about them. I'm going to talk about them. But he's letting it be known. We got them big pipes. We got them extendos. We got them banana clips. We got Glocks with the tits on them. That's what he's basically saying. So reports have actually shown that the United States military was testing similar technology more than a decade ago. So this has been over 10 years in the making that they have started microwaving Cuban brains and just smoking fools from a distance. It's actually crazy. Look at this.
You're not going to see it. You're not going to hear it. You're not going to smell it. You're going to feel it.
It felt like opening up an oven door, almost mixed with a sting from about my sternum to my neck. So like you started really feel it on my neck before I had to kind of instinctively jump out of the way.
Because
yeah.
Wow.
It still works the same way.
That's crazy.
Picture like an invisible searchlight, right? You know what a searchlight looks like? So an invisible searchlight of radio waves going downrange. So it's this big when it starts, and at the end, it's the same size.
This is a military area. Move away from the perimeter. I say again, this is a military area. Move away from the perimeter.
There could be some perimeter incursions along an installation that you may have. There could be some crowd control where you're trying to make sure that you de-escalate the situation and kind of calm things down and break up these crowds before it gets out of control.
So they're going to microwave you from miles away. It's actually insane. People are saying, what happens if they point it at you too long? It's lethal, right? They're saying there's a small scene in Star Wars that refers to this weapon, right? Deployed to Area 51 for field testing. This was 13 years ago. No sound, no smell, no warning. It's absolutely insane. Now, this secret weapon has resurfaced interest in the mysterious case of the US and Canadian diplomats apparently being targeted by sonic devices in Cuba 8 years ago. So listen, before you feel bad that the Cubans are getting their brains microwaved, they was trying to put the microwave on the Americans 8 years ago. Look at this.
For the first time, we are hearing an audio recording of what's believed to be a sonic weapon used on American embassy workers in Cuba. 22 U.S. government workers suffered physical symptoms while in Havana. Samples of audio are being studied by the military and intelligence agencies now, and that sound is made up of about 20 different frequencies and pitches, some too low for us to even hear.
It's like, acoustic hammer which is hitting you. And if it is really, really high, it could create some, what we call as a bioeffects.
The attacks started last year and are considered ongoing, with an incident reported as recently as late August. Cuba has defended its response and says it's trying to cooperate with U.S. investigators.
Cuba ain't cooperating with nobody, right? This targeted US and Canadian officials and their families while Cuba and the US were discussing normalized relations. Canada was an intermediary and already has good relations with Cuba. We should be asking who stands to lose if the US and China have better relations. Follow that trail and you might find the culprit. I don't think it's Cuba. Behind it could be the Russians. But anyway, okay, this all leads up to the World Economic Forum where Trump stepped up his pressure to seize Greenland, and he got them secret microwaves, so you might want to give him what he wants.
President Donald Trump continuing his pressure campaign for the United States to take control of Greenland. In a slew of late-night social media posts, the president sharing 2 AI-generated photos, including one showing him planting an American flag on the island.
We have to have it, because the boat went there 500 years ago and then left. That doesn't give you title to property.
Trump also exposing private...
He basically said, I need it, my Draco undefeated.
...messages with world leaders, one purportedly from the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, and another from French President Emmanuel Macron, who wrote, quote, I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland. A source close to Macron confirmed the screenshot is authentic. Macron speaking Tuesday at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
Competition from the United States of America through trade agreements that undermine our export interests demand maximum concession.
Look, you want us to take you seriously, right? But you're up there at the World Economic Forum with pink eye and the aviators on. So let's not do all of that. But during his speech at the World Economic Forum, Trump would take direct aim at the European nations. He wants Greenland. He needs it.
Well, thank you very much, Larry. It's great to be back in beautiful Davos, Switzerland, and to address so many respected business leaders, so many friends, few enemies. Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction. This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America, on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory. It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere. And we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now. That's why American presidents have sought to purchase Greenland. It's the United States alone that can protect this giant mass of land, this giant piece of ice, develop it and improve it and make it so that it's good for Europe and safe for Europe and good for us. And that's the reason I'm seeking immediate negotiations to once again discuss the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, just as we have acquired many other territories throughout our history, as many of the European nations have. They've acquired. There's nothing wrong with it. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. If we gave them the call, gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know we'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
So it's some pretty tough talk, right? And there was another clip from the speech that also went viral. See this one.
There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place. And they are losers. One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing.
So look, these windmill losers wouldn't know what to do with Greenland, all right? They wouldn't have a clue what to do with Greenland, all right? They certainly wouldn't be microwaving people's heads from several miles away. So, all right, Trump has reportedly backed down from military intervention in Greenland, and he is also apparently backed down from the tariffs that he claimed that he would be putting on Europe after reaching a new NATO deal.
Breaking news from Davos, Switzerland, where President Trump announced a preliminary deal has been reached with the head of NATO on Greenland. The preliminary framework is made to be, quote, infinite and provide Arctic security. Our Washington, D.C. bureau chief, Ben Kennedy, starts us off.
It's a deal that everybody's very happy with.
Tonight, President Trump announced the U.S. and NATO have a framework for a future deal with respect to Greenland.
It's a deal that people jumped at. Really fantastic for the USA. Gets everything we wanted, including especially real national security.
And that was the key reason why he said the country needed to acquire the Arctic island, citing threats from China and Russia. A message shared at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland on Wednesday.
We never asked for anything.
It's in Davos the commander-in-chief ruled out military force in U.S. efforts to take over the Danish territory.
I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force.
I don't think the military force was ever real in the first place. But I think the tone reflected deep anxiety here.
Wall Street bounced back following his remarks that America's army won't be used, and that President Trump is also backing off from threats on European nations amid news of this framework.
I think perhaps because of the stock market's reaction yesterday, he appeared to back down from his previous threat to use military force to acquire Greenland. And if I'm interpreting that correctly, I think that's a good thing. It was, of course, crazy that he would do such a thing in the first place.
So look, everybody's back down. Everybody's calm down. Trump's not going to step on us with the microwaves. But Trump would also detail plans to expand his board of peace in Davos, which he basically says will be a replacement for the United Nations. He said the United Nations ain't fucking with us, so we're going to start our own board of peace with
Donald Trump
gambling
is
and hookers.
due to preside over a ceremony on Thursday celebrating his proposal for a so-called board of peace. Now, this was originally part of his Gaza peace plan, meant to oversee the ceasefire and reconstruction in the Palestinian territory. He's now expanding the board's
He's starting a board of peace because he's bored of peace. He's about to turn up.
mission to broker solutions to global conflicts, and he's invited dozens of nations and leaders to pay billions to join.
U.S. President Donald Trump has long distrusted international institutions. Now he's announced his own.
We just created the Board of Peace, which I think is going to be amazing. I wish the United Nations could do more. I wish we didn't need a Board of Peace, but the United Nations, and you know, with all the wars I settled, the United Nations never helped me on one war.
The Board of Peace was originally supposed to be part of Phase 2 of Trump's Gaza peace plan. Along with an executive board and a team of Palestinian technocrats, the board would oversee difficult aspects of the peace plan, like disarming Hamas and beginning reconstruction in Gaza. But now it's become a work in progress with an expanding mission. It seems that Trump himself is the only one who really knows what's happening as the invitations go out. He is the lifetime chairman of the board. Even the White House webpage on the board still refers to the reconstruction of Gaza. But the U.S. has sent out a draft proposal to world leaders, saying it will embark on a bold new approach to resolving global conflict. There's a $1 billion fee to become a permanent member. The list of who's been invited to join contains an odd mix of world leaders. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has already accepted. There's Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, Russia's Vladimir Putin, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, whose country is fighting a bloody war with Russia. Several countries have already signaled they won't take part or have said flat out no, including traditional U.S. allies France, Italy, and Norway. The United Nations has failed to stop or even mitigate multiple conflicts in recent years, including Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine and Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza. Time will tell if Trump's Board of Peace can do better, or if it becomes a billionaires' club where nations and leaders pay to play.
Man, he wants $1 billion in subscriptions for joining the Board of Peace. That is hilarious. Now, in response to France's refusal to join the new organization, Trump threatened the country with a series of more aggressive tariffs. And as a Britishman, I don't really fuck with the French like that, so do your worst.
Oh, did he say that? Well, nobody wants him because he's going to be out of office very soon. So, you know, that's all right. What I'll do is if they feel like Costo, I'll put a 200% tariff on his wines and champagnes, and he'll join. But he doesn't have to join. If he said that, you're probably giving it to me a little bit differently. But if he actually did say that, but as you know, he's going to be out of office in a few months.
He said, hey, I'm going to take your wine and champagne. I'm going to steal them bottles if you really want to play with me. So look, this isn't me. I'm not worshipping Trump or anything like that, but I'm just following along with what he is saying. And he is calling some crazy shots right now. He's got brain microwaves. He's about to take Greenland. He's stepping on Europe. He's starting a board of peace because he's bored of peace. It is absolutely crazy. Okay, I will keep you guys informed. I've really enjoyed doing these politics videos, okay, and I'm going to do more of them going forward. So thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Let me know what you thought below, and I'm out of here, gang. Peace.